Hi, and I'm Altero, and I'm a Latina role model. And I want to tell you, cut your excuses in half and face your fears. Fears are holding you back to becoming who you are meant to be in this world. Everybody has the potential to become whoever they decide to do. Follow your passion, follow your dream, and you'll be happy always.
I am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and her mother couldn't believe her. She is the child I am for. I am a volunteer child advocate. I am you.
Florida residents call toll-free 866-341-1425.
This show has been brought to you by Taino Light Beer, coming to your favorite retailer in September in Central Florida.
Welcome to Latina Role Models. My name is Lisa Pino, and today we have with us Elsa Camacho. She is a foreclosure defense attorney. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's nice to have you on set.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you born?
Well, originally I was born in New York. I moved to Orlando, Florida at the age of 9 or 10. I know I finished my last 2 months of 4th grade here. And I've been here ever since.
Okay. So where you moved to Orlando, you said, correct?
Yes.
So you've been in Orlando your whole life?
Yes. Our family vacations were always from New York to Orlando, Disney World, yay, and then from Disney World, obviously, on to Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico back to New York. So we fell in love with Orlando and moved here, and my parents felt like it was better to raise the children because I have younger siblings.
Okay.
So,
how many siblings do you have?
I have 3 younger siblings,
Okay.
2 brothers and a sister.
2 brothers and a sister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did they follow in any of your footsteps of kind of what your career?
Not in my career, but in terms of being good citizens, yes. Well behaved, yes, they all, yes.
Okay, did they study anything similar career-wise?
No, I believe my brother studied business, and a young brother's an artist.
Oh,
and
wow.
my little sister, I believe, is interested in computers. So, you know, everybody has their own little...
Their own thing.
Yes. Everyone's an individual, so they have their own, you know, interest.
Yeah, so did you visit, you visited New York, I'm guessing, a couple times.
Oh, yes.
Do you like New York better than here, or Florida better?
I wouldn't say I like one over the other. I love New York. I mean, who cannot? I mean, I had a coworker recently that went to visit New York for the first time ever, absolutely fell in love. I had friends that visited and actually ended up moving up there. So I absolutely love New York. The only reason I probably would not move back is the winter. Been a little spoiled with Florida winters. It's all I know, the light jacket. So, I mean, even just throwing on the sweater here sometimes is too much work, so.
Yeah, I agree.
But
we do get a little spoiled.
Yes, but I love New York for the culture, you know. I mean, you have all types of people. The food is practically authentic. So, for that reason. And Orlando, it's home. You know, it's home. It's what I know. I've been here since a child.
Nice, comfy, cozy.
Yes, it has a little bit of city, a little bit of the suburbs. It's just enough. You got the little tourist industry. You have an international drive. I mean, for as long as I've lived here, I still like to play tourist. So I still love the parks. So sometimes you never get over the parks.
Oh, no.
No.
Never. So tell me about your career. What do you do?
Well, I practice primarily foreclosure defense, so I defend borrowers who are going through the foreclosure process in trying to, you know, accomplish whatever, you know, their goal is in regards to the property, whether it's retaining the property or maybe exiting, you know, the best way possible. That's what I do. Yeah, I assist borrowers, homeowners. I assist the homeowners.
Okay. Have there been any challenges within doing that? Any times where you've had to go to the house and foreclose a house and I don't know, it affected the family or things like that?
I mean, you know, you are dealing with, you know, a sensitive issue. You know, sometimes people have been in the homes, you know, for several years and, you know, so it's a process. So, I mean, it's a pleasure assisting them and, you know, and helping them get through this and realizing that, you know, sometimes, even if it does result in a foreclosure, it's not the end of the world. You can pick up the pieces and continue. You know what I'm saying? It's just material. And sometimes I feel like, people need to understand that. I understand, you get sentimentally attached, but at the end of the day, you have to be concerned about your happiness. So I never go out to the properties. So with the foreclosure, we don't actually, go out to the properties or anything like that. We just assist them through the foreclosure process.
Through the foreclosure. Do you assist them also in finding a new place to move to, or guide them in the direction of, okay, you can contact these people to find a new place or anything like that, or you just do the...
No, not in terms of actually getting them in communication with, like a new property or a rental. But we help assist them in viewing the entire picture, like I said, and realizing, what the strategies can be going forward in terms of the process and what they actually want to accomplish, and looking at the entire financial picture, and helping them realize whether it even makes sense, to retain the property. So.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I went to FAMU, always in Orlando, as I mentioned. I never left, literally.
You love it here.
Yeah, I love it here. Went to UCF, went to FAMU, College of Law, which is downtown Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And did you do your just 4 years UCF, or did you take a little longer? Did you kind of experiment around?
I did.
No?
I took a break. I want to say about a year in between graduating UCF. I got my bachelor's in political science and psychology, and I always knew I wanted to go to law school, so I just went ahead and went that route. Signed up in terms of, at FAMU. I looked at FAMU and Barry because Orlando's my home. Ended up at FAMU and absolutely enjoyed the experience, and in practicing, and something that I enjoy.
That's great. And you said you always knew you wanted to be a lawyer.
Yes.
Does that mean since you were little? And
yes, I always knew I wanted to be an attorney. I mean, as a child, it's very interesting because I save a lot of stuff, okay? So I have stuff.
Not a hoarder or anything.
I'm not a hoarder. I say I'm a collector.
Okay.
But I do have some neat stuff. Nothing is garbage. Okay. But I did find something, from when I was a child, stating that, it was one of those essays you do in school. What do you want to be? And coincidentally, it said an attorney. I didn't realize it went, that far back. But it is something that I always, I stuck with. I went through the process. I did whatever I had to do to accomplish it, and here I am.
Okay, so you never, in college, your first year, you were like, no, I'm sticking through. I'm going to graduate. I'm going to be a lawyer.
Yes, my majors were always geared with law school in mind. So yes, so that's why I went ahead and studied political science and psychology.
Okay, so you never kind of experimented around. I know you told me that you wish you kind of did.
I kind of do, because I feel like I have some other interest, and I feel like I would have enjoyed exploring some other areas. I am happy with what I'm doing, but I would recommend, if you have several interests, to look into them thoroughly, to do more of the research. If you have the time, obviously, and obviously there's a wealth of knowledge now. I mean, there's so much knowledge out there. I mean, there's so much information, is what I'm trying to say. With the internet and everything, some things that they didn't have back when I was younger.
So it was a little harder.
It was a little harder. I think you have some more resources nowadays. So I would advise, the youth to go ahead and definitely, look into, definitely do some more research in terms of what areas they'd like to pursue in terms of a career.
Yeah. So would you say that would be a small challenge you had while going through law school, or just accomplishing your bachelor's, because of the lack of resources compared to the amount of resources students have now? Would you say that's a big game changer for everyone?
I wouldn't say it's a huge game changer. I just feel like it's just kind of a plus nowadays, a bonus. I don't think it really changed anything. Fortunately for me, I enjoy what I'm doing, so I don't feel like there was any lack in terms of, the information back then, because I stuck with it. Do I wish I looked into other things and knew more about some other stuff? Sure, but fortunately it worked out to where I'm passionate about what I do, so it was the right fit for me. I think some people just know that earlier on than others, so maybe maybe that's what.
Some people are lucky and they can just go to school and finish within that 4-year time frame, and that's it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. What are some goals you have for yourself related to either your career or just your life in general, family-wise? Any type of goals you've had or have?
I don't really how can I put this? In terms of like goals, I don't really have definitive career set goals. I kind of, I don't know if you want to say like an optimist, or I just basically like to do what makes you happy. So if it's the right fit and you enjoy what you're doing, and you know it's what you see yourself doing, then I feel like that's enough.
Okay.
So.
And as far as not so much career-wise, but is there anything more that you want to accomplish in the future, or you feel like you're where you want to be at this time in your life, or
I'm where I
later
want to
on?
be at this time in my life. I mean, would I like to do more eventually? Absolutely. But you know, life is it's so unpredictable that I kind of just take it one day at a time. But obviously, in terms of career for the youth, you should definitely, you know, set a goal if you want to pursue this. As I said, do the research, look into it. But that may change, and that's what I'm trying to communicate. While you're looking into it, you know, what you thought you wanted to do may change. So obviously, you know, the next day, obviously you might be looking into a different career and then going forward.
Yeah.
So.
Just basically, as long as whatever you're doing, just research that and make sure you're going and
Yes.
following the steps that you need to in order to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. What are some recommendations you would give to our young Latinas regarding their life, their career, or any possibilities that they can have in their life? Something you would advise them to do?
As I said, research. Definitely research. Know what you want to do. Just look into it. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't think, oh, they're going to think I don't know anything, or, you know, everyone, just ask. Just ask. I mean, if you see someone and you know that's a career you may want to pursue, just go ahead and don't be afraid to, you know, to get your questions answered. You know, just, you know, use all the sources that you can, you know, to accomplish and get the information that you need to put you where you want to be.
I think that's a really good recommendation that they can follow with and can help them in the future. Well, it was very great having you here, Elsa. I'm very glad I got to learn a little bit about you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
My name is Lisa Pino, and stay tuned for our next Latina role model.
My name is Janitzi Velez, and I'm a proud Latina role model. Please embrace your uniqueness, be gracious, and everything that you do it with courage. You are great, and you will do great things.
I'm attorney Yara Rodriguez. I am very proud to be a Latina role model. And for you, my message is never quit, keep at it, and work 24/7 for whatever dream you have, because your dream will become a reality.
My name is Raquel Garzon, and I'm a Latina role model. My advice to you is to always be yourself, be authentic, and to do always what you believe is the right thing.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Cooper, and I'm a Latina role model. If you want to do what I did in my life, you want a success for your life, stay focused. Don't stop believing in yourself. Write down your goals, and I will see you at the top.
This show has been brought to you by Taino Light Beer, coming to your favorite retailer in September in Central Florida.
Welcome back to Latina Role Models. My name is Lisa Pino, and today we have with us Marie Masson. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. Yourself?
Good. She is our attorney in Orlando, the vice president of the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Florida. So,
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's great to have you here. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from? Are you from here originally or no?
No, I was born and raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I actually went to school, my elementary school and high school, obviously, and college at the University of Puerto Rico. That is my alma mater. And then in 1996, I was one of the Puerto Rican immigrants that came and into the mainland. I came to Florida to study at the Florida State University College of Law. And I stayed in Florida after law school. So I became one of those statistic numbers of people that were born and raised in the island and then come to the continental US. And since I graduated from law school, I had joined the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Florida, and I've taken an interest in all of the issues affecting the island, as well as the Puerto Rican people that come from the island and try to establish the residence here and make a new life in the state.
Okay, what law school did you go to?
Florida State University in Tallahassee is where I went to law school. And since then, I relocated to South Florida and then most recently to the Orlando area.
Okay, so when you first came over here, did you live in Tallahassee or did you live somewhere else and then go over there to go to FSU?
I lived in Miami briefly, and then for law school, yes, I lived in Tallahassee while I was attending school. It was a very different environment from where I grew up in Puerto Rico. Obviously a lot colder. I had never been in a place like that. I missed, the beaches and the warm weather. And that's part of the adjustment that everybody has to make when you don't grow up in an area like that. The culture also is very different.
And you came alone or with your family?
No, I came alone as a student. Yes, my family still, lived in Puerto Rico. And still my mom is down there. She comes and visits and she loves it, and she came to visit in Tallahassee. But it's very different. It takes a little bit of adapting. And then, Central Florida and South Florida, they have such a big Hispanic and Puerto Rican community, each of those areas, that you feel a little bit more at home than in Northern Florida, for example.
Yeah, I can imagine. So besides some of those challenges as far as adjusting and all that, when you graduated, what are some challenges you faced getting to where you're at now?
I would have to say being a Latina and being in that sense a minority as well as a female, which also makes you a minority, it's harder in the sense that women tend to have to prove themselves and do a lot more because they are compared in this profession with males. And it's a profession that's still very much dominated by males. And when you have the double whammy of being a female and a Latina, it could be challenging. People may not take you as seriously or may question, your intellect or your capability. Is she a really good professional? So the bar seems to be a little higher when you're a woman. And, to me, it wasn't so much a challenge. To me, it was an opportunity to just show what I am capable of doing as a professional. And also an opportunity to lead the way for younger females that had maybe the same aspirations of becoming a lawyer and not being in their hometown, and just adapting to a new profession, a new area, a new country, a new state. So, it's an opportunity for success just to lead by example. At least that's the way I saw my experience.
Yeah, no, of course. Did you have any specific encounters with, let's say, someone of higher authority? Since you said, you're Latina and you're a woman, so it's a little harder and you might encounter some obstacles that might not let you do certain things. Did you have anything specific you remember while going down that road that you're like, oh, I'm so glad I was able to overcome that?
No, not really. I think actually in the last 20, 30 years, there's been a mind opening. I mean, it's still hard to succeed as a woman attorney, and it's still hard to succeed as a Latina, and I can't think of a single person that kind of made my life so hard, where I for a second thought I couldn't make it. On the contrary, I think I felt as though the more I reached out to people from my ethnicity, for example, the Puerto Rican Bar Association or the Hispanic National Bar Association, the more I reached out to other Hispanics and Latinos in my community, the more I felt like, what, I can make this. I can make this happen. I can reach my goal. So I think the fact that we network with each other and try to support each other really made a difference for me, and also inspired me to try to help out younger generations to try and reach their goals.
Yeah. Okay, do you only work with Puerto Ricans or Latinos in general, or is it not only Latinos, a little bit of other ethnicities like Americans or?
I try to get involved in all of the Hispanic associations, for example, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and that would bring a mix of Puerto Ricans and Venezuelans and people from all over Latin America and Brazil. I don't limit myself to just Puerto Rican people. I think as an attorney, if you want to provide a service, you should be open to every kind of client, not just the Hispanic or Latino ethnicity, but anybody that needs really legal services is welcome to come to our offices, and I'm happy to help everybody. The benefit of being a Puerto Rican is that when you grow up in the islands with both languages, then automatically you come here and you're kind of an exceptional attorney because you have two languages off the bat, whereas other people just have one language. Others have more than 3 languages. But it sets you at a higher level in terms of servicing different communities of people.
Yeah, especially when you're very fluent in both as well.
Correct. And I would stress the fact that people who are of Puerto Rican descent and don't have the Spanish roots should definitely pursue that, because you could take lessons and you could, identify ethnically with a different variety of clients, and if you just polish those skills, that would just, translate into success in your career.
Yeah, relating to that, I've met a lot of Puerto Ricans that aren't very fluent in Spanish, and to this day they wish that they did know it fluently, because they notice how important it is to know both languages.
Yes, and it is a challenge for me. I have young children, and I try to speak to them in Spanish at home, because obviously they do get their education in English at school, but the tendency is for them to understand everything in Spanish, but then still answer back in English. So, I know eventually I'll have to make them take lessons so that they have that. But it's very important, as you say, to have that skill and to polish it. If you have it in your ear, you definitely should be able to speak it at some point if you just work a little bit on it.
Yeah, of course. That's the same thing my parents did with my brother and I. They talked to us strictly Spanish, and then at school everything was English. So we both caught on to it very, very well.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
It's a matter of practice.
Yeah.
Really.
What are some goals you have for yourself, or that you had, maybe you already achieved, or some future goals you even have for your career, your life, family?
I am striving to reach a more balanced work and family life. Immediately as a professional, I'm trying to grow my practice, the Masson Law Firm. I will be providing services to, civil litigants or people who need services with civil litigation in the areas of workers' compensation, labor and employment, and any other civil matter. I also want to make sure that my kids grow up in a very safe environment, that they understand their ethnicity, where they came from. I've made it a point to take them back to where their dad came from and where I came from, so that they know and understand the richness of the cultures that they have within them, so that they see themselves as citizens of the world more than anything else, but also understand exactly what Puerto Rico is about, what the country believes, which is the country where their dad came from, is about. And I think that that'll make them a more wholesome human beings, I think.
Yeah, so they kind of know their background and they won't lose those roots.
Sure, correct.
Because usually when kids are born here and their parents are from somewhere else, they kind of lose those roots a little bit. I noticed that a little bit in my brother.
Yeah, it's easy to get involved in the day-to-day or the pop culture and forget. But, my personal goal is to try and travel as much as I can with my children so that they understand where they came from.
How many children do you have?
2.
2? Okay. Are they a little older or still very young?
Young, they're 7 and 9.
Okay.
So they're still growing, still learning.
Do any of them say, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer just like my mom," or?
Not yet, no. They're still into animals, and they want to be vets and astronauts and all of those.
I think all little kids want to be vets at one point.
Yes, absolutely, they do.
So what are some recommendations you would say that you would give young Latina women regarding their life, their career, anything like that you would tell them, okay, follow these steps and you will succeed?
I think, first of all, try to make sure that you know exactly what you want. And that's a very difficult question, because a lot of people start college and they think they want to do something, and then the second year they're like not sure, and you're just changing majors, and maybe you're on your 4th year and you don't know what it is that you want to do. But as much as you can, try to figure out what it is that you want, and once you have a set goal in your mind, try to find the confidence to say, okay, if I put my mind to this, I can do it. I can definitely do it. Try to find confidence in the fact that if you've made it this far, there's nothing but your own will to stop you from reaching your goals. And then reach out to other people within your family, within your community, within trade associations in the area that you're interested in working or studying within your school, your university. Just reach out for other people and network. Nowadays, it's so easy with social media to stay connected with any kind of organization. Almost everybody has a presence out there in social media where you could look for opinions and experiences of other people and learn from what others have done. And even if you want to, set a new path for everybody to follow, at least you'll get information from others and support from others, and make sure that you're not alone on your way to what your goals are.
Yeah, when you said network, I think that's a very important thing, because even if they change majors every year, like you said, within that major they're in that specific time, they should meet other colleagues, and through them they might find a specific path they like a little more, and then they have that connection, and that's a good way to branch out. I think that's really important for everybody to know.
And another thing, if I may add, a lot of times if you're not sure you like a specific job, it's a great idea to go and intern, even if you want to volunteer and it's an unpaid job for a few weeks in the summer or whenever you can afford to spend the time, and just try to look at what it's really like to be a doctor or an attorney or a nurse or an accountant. Just hang out with somebody that actually does that for a living, and you'd be surprised at how much you would learn and say, this is not what I want, or yeah, this is definitely what I want. It's just a test of real life, and it can certainly give you focus and perspective. And also, if you want to get hired, the best way to get an employer's attention is to offer your services for free and say, listen, if you let me come in, I'll just shadow you for a day if it doesn't bother you, and I'll see what it's like. In return, you could use me for whatever you need, and then you can show your abilities, showcase yourself, show them that you're really interested and that you're worth their while as far as becoming a mentee. Because the one important thing that I think we don't do too much of as professionals is to mentor people. Mentorships to me are a great way to get younger generations into any field, any professional field. And I try myself to try and mentor high school children in terms of volunteering and going to do whatever. Justice teaching is a civics course that the Florida Supreme Court really emphasizes for attorneys to volunteer their time for. So, mentoring others can give to both persons in that equation a lot. You give of your time, you give back, and then the person that's getting all of the information and the example and the leadership and the support gets a lot, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, it's really important to try and do as much as you can. Yes. But we ran out of time. It was so good meeting you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. My name is Lisa Pino. This is Latina Role Models, and we'll be right back.
This show has been brought to you by Taino Light Beer, coming to your favorite retailer in September in Central Florida.
My name is Nilmari Zapata, and I am a Latina role model because I believe that you can overcome any circumstances that come in your way and be the best version of yourself.
Hello, I'm Sandra Rivera, and I'm a Latina role model. Whatever your struggles are in life, whatever you don't have or don't have access to, don't use that as an excuse for not pursuing your dreams and moving forward. Get out of your own way and get out of your comfort zone, and you will be amazed at the growth that you will experience.
Hi, I'm Gloria Puerta from Feed and Fortify Community Organization, today in Latino role model. And be yourself. Try to have your purpose in life and be a legacy of service.
My name is Milagros Rivera, and I'm a founder and mentor of Daughters of the Mighty King mentoring program for young girls. I am inspired and encouraged to be here because I want to see a new generation rise up.
I am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and her mother couldn't believe her. She is the child I am for. I am a volunteer child advocate. I am you.
Florida residents call toll-free 866-341-1425.